Part 1, Dust Ball. Yvault is a forgotten dust ball in Sector 8.
And that isn't hyperbole either.
Crops don't take to it well. People never really lived there for long periods of time.
Long ago, there was once some mining operations,
but they were abandoned decades or centuries ago.
Now it's just an old, crusted, and rusty ball in Sector 8.
And the home of the Drakian Rebellion. The Drakian Rebellion was supposed to take a world of its own, supposed to settle and set down roots on Ipska.
Then Ipska became a temporal war zone, and now they're stuck here. An old, dusty planet that they'd been using to shepherd supplies towards Ipska.
Leaving the dust ball became a lot harder once the rebellion had thousands of Ipska refugees to care for.
We open on what once was a foreman's office.
Now converted into a rough command post from which the rebellion's leader tries to manage the planet. He, Drak Nor'ch, isn't some politician or minister.
Truth be told, Drak's never run an election, or worked in any civic job before.
He had separated from the Empire militarily,
and was fairly surprised that his message had reached quite so many people. But darn it, he wasn't going to abandon them now.
Now Drak is a synsect, particularly a beetle, or what you might understand as a beetle. There aren't many beetles, earth beetles, that look like Drak.
But beetle is the closest point of comparison.
He's fairly tall for a beetle at 6'5".
Exoskeleton, pair of horns on his head.
Drak would say he's bred for war.
But that's all talk. His body is too lithe for a war beetle.
His psionics aren't adept for direct combat.
Yes, all the Synsect possess some latent psychic powers.
Drak can cause things to happen.
Affect probability, turn the lights on.
Psychokinesis. Remember how I mentioned Drak's trying to manage a planet? Well, let me tell you, it is not going well. Poorly, even. He's doing his best, but Yvault wasn't really colonized for a reason.
The soil's terrible for crops, and hydroponics won't meet dietary needs forever. They won't starve, but sickness from missing key nutrients is only a few months away. On top of that, they had to leave most of their building equipment on Ipska.
Being this dust ball's rusted and outdated crap is most of what they had to work with. It would be a bad situation to be governor of, made worse when they only know the basics of infrastructure.
One thing, probably the best and only thing Drak has going for Yvault, is the fact that he knows a lot of people. And those people have skills that he just doesn't. A general doesn't handle every aspect of their army themselves. They rely on those under and next to them to be doing their jobs too. So currently, he is trying to figure out how best to delegate his allies, who might be willing to step up into those leadership positions, and how best to ask them.
Emma would be best to find replacement equipment. She'd probably appreciate being in charge of operations again.
This muttering, near chittering, goes on for some time. He recounts a dozen people, each with some qualification or other. Not everyone is a good fit. He doesn't even know where everyone would have ended up. It's a big galaxy.
Maybe I can ask Camille to fly supplies for us. No, we don't have a ship to spare. But maybe.
Maybe he could get a hold of an old ship from Thea Prime. Maybe they could purchase or barter for a ship. Something with a good cargo bay, but fast.
No. I'll call up Camille before we start looking for ships.
That's for the best. Ships are expensive, and Drak doesn't have much to work with at the moment. A loan, a lease, even just a favor might be out of reach.
But none of that matters, though, if Camille isn't interested. Drak leaves his little command room, going in search of wherever the long-range communications equipment was today. 2 days ago was in the North Building. Last week was crammed into his office. Today it was down the hall, conveniently enough.
Although in an unmarked room, which, after passing the room a couple times, Drak enters.
Officer Bombi, can you send a signal out for Camille Cosmonite, Sector 5, planet number 94?
Thea Prime? One moment, please. Communication Officer Bombi was another Sinsect, a bee in particular. She's been running the comms for years under Drak from their military days.
Her hands tweaked and tapped at various parts of the machine, the hublink whirring to life. She tuned the comms, a roar of fine static accented by the rhythmic whine of the signal reaching out. A warble came in answer, and Bombi adjusted the whine. They fluctuated back and forth as if both participating in two completely different races the other was unaware of. The signal could take moments to an hour to reach.
Connection established, sir.
Drak approached the little microphone,
Took a breath, and gave his little pitch.
Camille, I might have a job for you.